Let's talk a little bit about the Gallery of Magick's books. In a video this time, instead of in the middle of a random 3-hour long stream. I am Dave, the Amateur Magus. On this channel I talk all about the mechanics behind ceremonial magic, occultism, esotericism, and the mechanics behind everything you can find within a dusty old grimoire. On today's episode we will be talking about the modern books, kind of grimoires, from the Gallery of Magick. Let's get into that. If you would like to support the channel before we get into things, please subscribe and share this video out with people you think might enjoy. And if you really want to help me out and allow me to buy more occult books, please consider supporting at the Patreon link down below, where you can get exclusive access to exclusive videos that only patrons get to see, as well as the Occultic Manual series, which is my monthly little write-up about a particular occult topic that I feel inclined to write about. Now let's talk about the Gallery of Magick, shall we? The Gallery of Magick is an interesting group. The Gallery of Magick is, for those of you who don't know, it is a kind of series, and it is created by a group called the Gallery of Magick. This is a group of writers who are, generally speaking, going to be simplifying older texts and making it more beginner-friendly, for the most part. Now, in my opinion, I think that the Gallery of Magick is pretty hit and miss in a lot of respects. I think that when it comes to their spirit catalogs, for those of you who don't know, spirit catalog is a group of spirits in a book. It's kind of like it's a phone book catalog type of thing. You go through, you find a spirit you want to work with, you go work with that spirit in the method given in the book, and that is what a spirit catalog is. Think the Goetia, or in the case of the Gallery of Magick, they have both the Goetia and the 72 Angels of Power, if I remember correctly, is their Shem Angel book. They have one for the Angels of the Shem HaMvarash, the Anabacoak, and they have just a lot of really, really good spirit catalogs. Now, I am personally a sucker for spirit catalogs, so when I say that I can recommend these, yeah, I can actually recommend these. These are pretty great. The Gallery of Magick has a lot of really good spirit catalogs when it comes to those books. Now, there is a second kind of book that the Gallery of Magick puts out, though, which is effectively either one ritual or spell or a system of magic. So for the ritual type of books, you're looking at things like the Magical Cash Book, and for things like the system, you can find things like Success Magic or Wealth Magic, which is generally going to be pretty hit and miss, I would say. But let's start with the positive. Alright, so positive. Their spirit catalogs are probably some of the better ones you can find. I'm just gonna straight up tell you this right now. Their magical books on, the evocation side, so the Angels of the Shem HaMvarash, which is, they call it the 72 Angels of Magic, and there's also they have a Goetia one as well. Those two are going to be pretty great, honestly. Those are probably going to be some of, if not my favorite ones. However, then you have things like the Magical Cash Book. Now, the Magical Cash Book, I think, is actually pretty good. I think that the Magical Cash Book in that kind of beginner-style magic does have its place, and this is the kind of thing that you can pick up for, a couple bucks. The supplies will cost you, if you want to do it for cheap, $10, you can get most of the stuff at the dollar store in the US, and if you're going for really expensive, probably, caps out at 30 if you want to use particular spray paint implements or something like that. So it's really cheap to get into, honestly. It's pretty great stuff, and I do quite enjoy it, and if you are trying to get into magic, I do heavily recommend the Magical Cash Book. It won't be as effective as, some of the stuff like the money spell I have on my channel, but if you're just starting out, it's pretty, you might get more success out of that one. It depends on your particular situation and your particular approach to magic, but for the most part, a lot of the systems I have a problem with. So there's two books in particular I want to talk about. And this is going to be my own personal bias for a lot of these, but the Gallery of Magick does something that I really don't like the fact that the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn does, and that is they try to repackage Enochian. Now, in the Golden Dawn's case, it's a little bit different because, for the most part, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn wasn't, they didn't know any better. But we do have at least two books. Magical Destiny and Success Magick are both Enochian that has been repurposed into for Success Magick, a method of magical success workings, and for Magical Destiny, a method for getting in touch with your Holy Guardian Angel for people who are obsessed with buying 50 different books on the topic. Just do the Opera Melon for the love of God. Please save us all this time. But yeah, that I'm not the biggest fan of. Personally, it's not a big issue. But I will say that for the most part, the rituals in the Gallery of Magick systems books, so not talking about Success Magick, instead talking about Magical Riches, which is effectively their money magic book. They have a lot of these because if there's one thing you're going to want from magic, it's you're going to want money, power, women. That's the whole thing. Or men, if you're a woman looking for men. One of those three things usually. Money, love, power. Those three things. And those kind of feed into each other. So there's a lot of things that the Gallery of Magick does that are for those purposes. They're for money, love, and power. And is there anything wrong with going for money, love, and power? No, absolutely not. There is nothing wrong with using magic for those three things. Okay? And I'm just going to say that again. There is nothing wrong for when you start out doing magic, having your goal for magic be money, love, and power. There is nothing wrong with that at all. The problems arise not when you're looking for money, love, and power, but when you don't move on to other things. Your goal for magic when you're starting out should not just be money, love, and power all the time. Your goal at some point should be to improve yourself, right? There comes a point where you need to stop focusing on Malkuth, especially if you're involved in magic, because at some point you need to, at some point if you start working with stuff and you start doing magic, eventually magic will reach out and try to get you to do more, and usually that more is more interesting. But for the most part, there's nothing wrong with that. Now, my main issues are going to be that I personally find the Gallery of Magick's magical books to be kind of hit and miss. I think the Magical Cash book and, there's a lot of success and, money, love, power type of magic out there, and I find theirs to be a little bit hit and miss. I find a lot of it to be a little bit too, just a tiny bit too beginner friendly a little bit. It's almost like the magic gets so safe that it doesn't become functional anymore in a lot of cases. At least that's what I've noticed, and that's the impression I have from a couple of friends who have tried their books as well. So that in and of itself is going to be kind of my problems with it. Now, main takeaways from this that y'all should have is that, one, I do like their spirit catalogs. Their spirit catalogs, like the 72 Angels of Magic, is pretty great. That kind of, if it's a book about a list of spirits and what you would call those spirits up for and how to call those spirits up, generally speaking, I find that those books are amazing for giving you lists of spirits you can work with and talk to. Because I'm a big proponent of evocation, especially if you've watched this channel and heard me talk about spirits and the like for hours on end. Now, the methods in those books I think are a little bit hit and miss, but I know that a lot of people have success. So if you're looking for evocation, that would probably be my starting suggestion, is go to those. Because a lot of the old grimoires are going to have you be doing a lot of really advanced stuff. And if you're just a beginner and you want to, if you want to just dip your toe into the esoteric world, so to speak, the Gallery of Magick is actually a pretty good place to do it. Now, it's not where I got started, and I think a lot of their stuff is a little bit too beginner focused for me personally, but if my only gripe really is that some of it's a little bit hit and miss, and some of it doesn't exactly work out, and I think it keeps the kid gloves on a little bit too much. That's totally fine, especially if you're dealing with things like Enochian. Some of the stuff does have Enochian in it. The magical destiny to get in touch with your holy guardian angel, that does. I recommend staying away from that book. Honestly, if you want your holy guardian angel, read book 3 of the Abramelin and just go from there. And just take what he says with a grain of salt. So yeah, that being said, I have been Dave the Amateur Magus. Once again, if you enjoyed this content, please share it out with people you think might enjoy it, and subscribe. And if you really enjoyed this content, please consider supporting my occult book hoarding obsession and subscribe down to the Patreon link in the description below. I've been Dave the Amateur Magus. Hope everyone is having a good day. And if you're not having a good day, hope your day gets better. Take it easy.